You are not here to be liked. You are not here to be decoded. You are here to be obeyed, first by your own mind, then by every room you command. Power does not arrive with applause. Power arrives with orientation, with containment, with distance. Machiavelli knew it. That is why his words still cut deeper than any modern self-help fluff for sheep. In this video, you will learn 7 principles from the Prince. 7 weapons to forge a mind so disciplined, so untouchable, it paralyzes the room before you even speak. By the end, you won't just study power. You will embody it. You will stop chasing approval, stop bleeding energy, stop hiding behind softness. You will carve clarity, forge armor, enforce distance, command fear, rule with presence, close enemies forever, shape perception until the world bends. So the question stands, will you keep stumbling like the masses, or will you take the laws that kings, rulers, and conquerors lived by and wield them as your own? If you're ready, enter. Choose a direction, burn the exits. Do you know why most people stay average? It's not lack of intelligence, it's lack of clarity. They stumble through life with every door wide open, begging opportunity to wander in. Pathetic. Machiavelli would slam those doors shut and declare, "This is my path," and everything else dies. Clarity conquers intelligence. Intelligence collects. Clarity selects. Think about it. How many smart people do you know who are broke, scattered, exhausted? They drown in trivia and options, yet starve for commitment. Their lives are graveyards of half-finished schemes. You don't need 100 ideas, you need one vow. A vow that survives every mood swing, every applause cycle, every storm. Let's be honest, you're not tired because you're weak. You're tired because you're lost. Every new gust, praise, fear, distraction, hijacks your course. You confuse movement for momentum and dress failure as progress. But if you sail without a port, every wave becomes your master. Machiavelli opened The Prince with foundations. A ruler stands only when his arms and laws are firm. Purpose is your arms. Standards are your laws. Without them, a state collapses into factions. Without them, your mind collapses into chaos. Princes who drift invite rebellion. Men who drift invite regret. Decisive orientation is not cruelty. It is the only mercy. So what does this mean for you today? Your calendar is your army. Your principles are your legal code. If either negotiates with trend or temptation, you spark civil war in your own head. Here's what Machiavelli would do if he wore your skin today. He would carve a single-sentence aim for the next 90 days. Not poetry, not virtue signaling. A vow sharp enough to be executed under fire. He would guard it with 3 non-negotiables: sleep, training, deep work, scheduled before any social parasite. He would judge every task with the port test. Does this sail me toward my aim? If not, it's refused or delegated. He would wage a weekly loss audit, hunting not for additions but subtractions, apps, meetings, favors that bleed his vow. He would measure only what he controls, hours trained, pages written, reps done. Not applause, not approval. Clarity is the blade, everything else is bark. And when you sharpen that blade, you do more than master yourself. You cut a path through the world. The man who eliminates his exits does not merely survive. He conquers. Do not perform. Contain. The world is a circus of performers. People twitch at criticism, glow at praise, panic at silence. They parade their emotions under the delusion of authenticity. In truth, they're leaking their entire playbook. And the more you leak, the easier you are to read. Predictable people are not free. They are property. Stillness isn't emptiness. It's custody. It's locking your emotions in an iron cell. Rage, feel it. Joy, feel it. Shame. Feel it. But you never hand those keys to the crowd. The moment others know your triggers, they own you. Think about it. Someone flatters you. You bend like a reed. Someone criticizes you. You shatter like glass. Someone withholds attention. You grovel to fill the silence. This isn't power. This is puppetry. And you're the puppet dancing for anyone who tugs the string. Machiavelli saw this centuries ago. A prince must be both fox and lion. The lion has force, but without the fox's silence, the lion falls into traps. And he declared, "It is safer to be feared than loved." Why? Because love depends on the unstable moods of others. Fear depends on your discipline. Stop begging for applause. Stop negotiating with approval. Contain yourself. Protect your interior. Today, this law is even sharper. Your unreadability is not cruelty. It is counterintelligence. Every time you react on cue, you're a soldier marching to another man's drum. But the less you reveal, the more others stumble. Your silence forces them to overplay their hand. So how do you train this? Start with a 3-count pause before every reply. Text, email, or live confrontation. Breath first, words second. In conflict, command your face. Neutral, eyes steady, no fidgeting, no twitching. Posture is perception. Strip your language of excuses. Replace justifications with sharp refusals. Not aligned with my priorities. That won't work for me. Full stop. No essays, no defenses. Power is brief. Excuses are weakness. Once a week, run a trigger inventory. Identify the moments that spike your emotions. The people who crawl under your skin. The words that ignite you. Record them. Rehearse neutral responses until they become instinct. On the battlefield, the best generals already know where the landmines are. Above all, guard your tells. Never vent in public. Never rage online. Never let the room watch you bleed. That notebook in your drawer, that's your confessional. The world doesn't get a copy. Because here's the iron law. What you don't show cannot be steered. When no one can steer you, you stop being the marionette and become the puppeteer. You master yourself. And the man who masters himself does not just resist control, he exerts it. Withdraw your fuel. Let silence do the killing. Most people are not chained by iron, but by guilt. They confuse captivity with kindness. They think keeping everyone else comfortable is noble, pathetic. That isn't kindness, it's capture. Guilt is the leash society slips around your neck. And every time you over-explain, over-apologize, or over-give, you yank the leash tighter yourself. You mistake compliance for compassion. You rename slavery as virtue. And you wear exhaustion like it's your identity. Exhaustion is not who you are. It's proof you've been drained like a fool.
Hey guys, we're Strategy, based in Abu Dhabi. We use AI tools to make these concepts come to life, but it's our amazing team who goes deep, breaking down powerful philosophical ideas and showing how they really apply in everyday life. We hope you enjoyed today's content.
Machiavelli was mercilessly clear. The best fortress is not to be hated by the people, he wrote. And injuries should be inflicted all at once. Benefits little by little. Translation: boundaries must be decisive and clean, not debated, not stretched, not dripped in endless apologies. When a prince must strike, he strikes once. The same law binds you. Distance is a fortress, not a debate. Your boundary is not a wall to cower behind. It's a gate to govern through. You don't argue. You don't justify. You make the move, and then you let silence carry the message like a blade unsheathed. How do you rule with distance? Install one-sentence boundaries. I'm unavailable for that. I don't discuss that. No biography, no footnotes, just the gate. Enforce silent consequences. When disrespected, you don't argue. You withdraw access. Fewer replies, fewer invitations, less presence, no drama, only subtraction. Run a guilt audit. When guilt claws at you, interrogate it. Is this aligned with your values or engineered by someone else's expectations? If engineered, burn it. Execute clean exits, end draining dynamics without a memoir. We'll go separate ways here. Block calendars, not arteries. Contain the echo. After withdrawal, feed the void with fire. A brutal walk, heavy training, cold water, raw journaling. Rumination is weakness. Transmute it into intensity. Because power does not beg. Power does not explain. Power establishes distance once and lets silence rule like an executioner. Remember this. A closed yacht shouts louder than 1,000 apologies. And when you master the art of silence, you don't just guard your energy. You force the world to orbit you on your terms. Choose fear, but measure it. Everywhere you look, people grovel to be liked. They soften decisions, delay consequences, sugarcoat truths. They hide behind niceness as if it were armor. But niceness is not armor. It is bait, and bait attracts betrayal. Machiavelli never lied about this. He declared, "It is safer to be feared than loved." Why? Because love is chained to the unstable moods and appetites of others. Fear is chained to you. Fear is loyalty where affection rots. Look at your own life. How many times have you chosen to be liked instead of respected? You said yes when you should have said no. You forgave when you should have enforced. You delayed punishment, thinking kindness would win loyalty. But every delay, every softened edge, sent one message. You can be ignored, you can be tested, you can be betrayed. Machiavelli warned, affection collapses the moment self-interest intrudes. But fear endures, so long as consequences are certain. People will abandon love the instant it costs them, but they will not abandon fear. Not if punishment is precise, predictable, and swift. So let's bring this into today's battlefield. Whether you lead a team, raise children, or run an empire, approval sustained by moods is fragile. Respect sustained by consequences is unshakable. People don't need to adore you. They need to know the line, and they need to know what happens when they cross it. Here's how to wield it. Declare your standards. No hidden rules, no silent resentments. Announce penalties, clear, explicit, so no one can feign surprise. Strike with speed, consequences applied swiftly, silently, without theatrics. No shouting, no pleading, just certainty. Rule with order, not chaos. Never mix cruelty with spectacle. Precision only. Execution without noise. This is not tyranny. It is sovereignty. Love is optional. Respect is not. To master yourself, you must amputate the need for approval. And once you do, you command others with unshakable gravity. Fear sharpens loyalty. Fear anchors order. And the one who commands fear does not just avoid betrayal, he builds dominion. Do not retreat. Govern. When pressure comes, the weak retreat. They ghost conversations. They dodge confrontation. They bury themselves in comfort. They call it protecting peace. But it isn't peace, it's prison. Machiavelli saw this centuries ago. Princes built fortresses, walls of stone, deluding themselves into safety. But he wrote plainly, the strongest fortress is not stone. It is not to be hated. Why? Because no wall survives if the people turn against you. Fortresses don't project strength. They broadcast fear, and fear invites siege. Now look at your life. How many times have you gone silent when you should have stood tall? You ignored the text instead of commanding the answer. You dodged the meeting instead of seizing the room. You hid behind busyness instead of owning the responsibility. You called it strategy. In truth, it was surrender. Isolation doesn't preserve power. It bleeds it dry. Today's fortresses aren't castles. They're digital vanishings. They're emotional stone walls. They're the weakling's instinct to disappear when challenged. But withdrawal doesn't make you mysterious. It makes you look beaten. Retreat doesn't signal mastery. It announces collapse. The alternative, presence, controlled, deliberate, undeniable presence. Machiavelli understood. A ruler must be seen to command loyalty. The same law binds you. Enter the rooms you control. Even in silence, your presence deters speculation. Never vanish when challenged. Meet it directly with calm brevity. Not rage, not rambling, just certainty. Stop building walls, build loyalty. Because loyalty is the fortress no army can breach. Engagement is the real shield. Visibility is deterrence. Leadership is not hiding, it is governing. Walls fall. Presence rules. And when you master presence, you don't merely protect yourself, you dominate the field, bending others into your orbit by the sheer weight of your command. Crush, don't wound. There is no enemy more dangerous than the half-defeated. The naive never grasp this. They think a warning, a polite scolding, or a halfway retreat is enough. They mistake hesitation for mercy. But Machiavelli would laugh at such weakness. A half-cut tie is not closure. It is a fuse still burning. He was ruthless in his counsel. Injuries must be inflicted in such a way that the enemy cannot retaliate. Meaning, if you must strike, you strike to end. No comeback, no regrouping, no revenge. Because a wounded enemy remembers. Pain becomes obsession, and obsession waits. Look at your own patterns. How many doors have you left cracked open? You walk away from a toxic friend, but still answer their midnight messages. You confront disrespect, but diffuse it with a laugh, pretending it wasn't serious. You quit a draining circle, but stalk their stories, leaving crumbs of attention. Every crumb is fuel, fuel for resentment, fuel for their return, and one day, it burns back at you. Machiavelli warned, the prince who harms without finishing breeds, rivals starving for revenge. But the prince who acts decisively, completely, leaves nothing alive to threaten him. No rival, no seed, no spark. And understand, this is not cruelty. This is clarity. This is clean exits, boundaries with no cracks, endings with no sequel. Cut ties fully. Block the access. No maybe later, no half-open door. Discipline once, decisive, sharp, never in drawn-out lectures that invite resistance. Confront cleanly, no endless back and forth. Decide, declare, depart. Let silence seal the decree. Because here is the truth. Mercy without strength is not virtue. It is negligence, and negligence breeds vendettas. A half-enemy does not remain half. They sharpen, they wait, they evolve into tomorrow's executioner. But the one who annihilates leaves no executioner to fear. He does not share the stage with rivals. He owns it, shape perception, or be consumed by it. This is one of the hardest truths because you've been fed a lie since childhood. Authenticity is sacred. You were told, be yourself. Speak your truth. Show your heart. And what has it earned you? Betrayal. You confessed doubts in rooms that used them against you. You exposed emotions to people who later weaponized them. You called it honesty. In reality, you surrendered the entire game board. Machiavelli dissected this weakness long before social media amplified it. He wrote, "A ruler must appear merciful, faithful, humane, upright, and religious, even if he is none of these. Appearances are armor. Why? Because men judge more by sight than by touch. Everyone sees your appearance. Almost no one touches your reality. Here is the bitter truth. The world does not care about your private self. It does not care about your insecurities, your conflicts, your misunderstood heart. The world kneels only to the mask you wear, and the mask is not a lie. The mask is survival. Ask yourself, what image do you project right now? Do you radiate composure or bleed chaos? Do you signal strength or display confusion? Because if you do not shape perception, perception shapes you. Once people brand you as weak, scattered, or easy, that brand never fades. What would Machiavelli do today? He would craft a controlled narrative, deliberate, precise, unbreakable. Every post, every word, every public appearance aligned to the role he chose. He would never contradict himself because consistency breeds power. He would let rumors spread if they served him, and if they didn't, he would not chase them down like a desperate man clawing for reputation. He would remain calm, dignified, even when enraged, because once you lose composure in public, the mask cracks, and cracks never disappear. So how do you rule perception? Craft your narrative. Decide who you are and defend it like territory. Stand on consistency. If you must evolve, do it visibly and deliberately. Never break the story. Starve rumors. Let silence work harder than protest. Every rebuttal feeds the lie. Govern your fury. Burn in private, never in public. Dignity under pressure is rare and priceless. Remember, the world does not honor truth. It honors the performance of truth. What they see is what they believe. Control the seeing, and you command belief itself. Appearances are not decoration, they are domination. Forge the mask, and you rule the eyes of the world. Power doesn't shout. It orients, it contains, it distances. Clarity names the port, stillness grips the wheel, distance keeps the pirates off the deck. Live this law in silence, and your presence will enter rooms before you do. Let them whisper, let them wonder. You will be too busy ruling. Subscribe, not for comfort, not for community, but for commitment. Treat it as a vow. Fewer words, harder edges, cleaner moves. The world will adjust, or it will vanish, because rulers don't wait for permission. They don't beg for belonging. They build the order, and the rest fall in line or fall away.
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the original books and resources we used today. We'll see you in the next one.